All right, so Big Dog has left us, and we'll move on to some college football since he doesn't really know anything about fucking college football.
First of all, I know you're going to see this, Mr. Lee. I know you know everything about college football. Don't listen to your fucking son over here.
He doesn't know
You got
shit.
a lot of nerve saying you didn't know ball.
He barely
right?
knows fucking shit about NFL.
Take some fucking 30 seconds to assess talent.
Yeah, so talent assessor extraordinaire right there. But
Fucking genius.
without Big Dog here interfering, let's go through our college football playoff rankings.
Come out tomorrow, right?
Right, come out tomorrow. So give me your top
right.
top 4 and first 2 out
All
right now.
My top
Yeah, that's what it is.
4.
Turner's top 4.
Okay. Michigan 1. I'm putting Georgia 2. And I probably wouldn't have had them 2, but they looked, not that Florida's good, but they went on the road without Brock Bowers, right? He's been hurt. So are they going to get him back before the end of the year? Do we not know?
It's a 4 to 6 week injury.
Okay.
So maybe by the SEC title game, maybe by the playoffs.
Okay. So I'll put Georgia 2. That's obviously with, Brock on their team 2 by the time the playoffs start. I'm going to put Florida State 3. I like the way they've been playing, and I'll put Ohio State at 4. I was telling you today the AP poll has Oregon after that win jumping Texas, but I don't agree with that. I put Texas at 5 and Oregon at 6.
Okay, I'm almost going to be exactly like yours. I'm going to be one different. Give me Michigan at 1, clear, obvious, no question about it. 2, I got Florida State.
Okay.
I think Florida State has a better resume than Georgia. If you're looking at overall team and resume, they beat LSU in non-conference pretty handedly. They've played... I don't think the SEC is very good this year, so I don't think Georgia has played a ranked team yet. I believe that's true. Now, they do have 3 straight ranked opponents coming up. They go, I believe, Missouri at home, then they've got some Ole Miss at home, and then they go to Tennessee. So
Ole Miss only 1 loss, though. I was looking at that.
Ole Miss has a chance, too. They're still in the thick of things. Alabama's still in the thick of things. There's a lot of crazy scenarios that play out where, and I posed this on the college football recap, there's like a couple scenarios where there's like 9 one-loss teams that could happen, and it's like, what happens here? It would be fucking classic if the last year before the 12-teamer, that's when this, because normally it works itself out, right? Like maybe one team gets left out, but usually it works itself out. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think there's going to be some craziness. But Florida State number 2, Georgia to me has done what they're supposed to, but they just haven't played anybody. So I'll put Georgia at 3. And the only reason really have Georgia at 3 because I'm not impressed with Ohio State whatsoever. They're undefeated. I got to have them 4. They're not going to finish 4. Michigan's going to steamroll them on November 27th, and they will drop out of the college football playoff after that. Texas is definitely 5. I think maybe that has something to do with the fact that Quinn Ewers is out, and Oregon has a guy who's a Heisman candidate in Bo Nix. But there's no possible way you can look at Oregon's resume and look at Texas's resume and say that. I mean, Oregon's best win is Utah.
Texas's we're missing best Washington.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I missed them on my. That's what I was.
Washington's 5. Washington's 5.
So that's what I was going to say too. Washington's 5, and then Texas is 6.
Texas
that's my
6.
bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew we were missing someone there. I was like, there's someone else undefeated, and we both think this. We both think Oregon's better than Washington.
They are better than Washington, and I think Oregon will beat them.
In your rankings, you have to put them.
Got to put them over, right?
Yeah.
But I think you're right. That's how we forgot about them because they're going to lose to Oregon again anyway. If it weren't for Dan fucking Lanning being a moron, Oregon would be undefeated and be in that spot. Yeah. So, but regardless, Washington 5, and we'll both put Texas 6. So we got almost the same one. Only difference is you got Georgia and I got FSU. But my playoff at the beginning of the year, I had Michigan, Florida State, Georgia, and Texas. That's still alive if Texas can win out. Yeah, Texas
I
can win
will
out.
say that. But here's my thing about Florida State. If Georgia comes back, and I like Florida State too when I see them play, but the more Georgia looked very pedestrian that game against Auburn and whatever. But the more you watch those guys play, I think what happens is that Kirby Smart gets more and more time with young defense, and they get better over the course of the season. Do you think Florida State would beat Georgia on a neutral field with Brock Bowers? I don't. That's the thing.
Again,
I get how you have them ranked there. I get that, but I'm just saying, if they played, you would think that Georgia's going to be favored by 7.5.
Yeah,
maybe more, maybe 10. I don't know. I don't know what they would make that line, but it's
a good question.
Vegas gives Georgia a lot of respect. But
I would probably say the line. I was going to say 6.5. So, but you might now thinking about it, neutral field, it might be 7.5. Yeah.
That would be what I think they'd put it at. But I'm just not so I wasn't sold on Georgia. And the more I see them play, I'm just like, Okay, well they still haven't lost in 20-something games.
I agree.
You know?
Well,
I just think if they had anybody else at quarterback, then I would be like, oh, whatever. But I just can't see Florida State necessarily beating them. But Florida State's extremely talented. I don't know, but I do think Michigan. We both talked about this. I think Michigan does beat them this year. So.
Yeah, I think Michigan can beat them. I think man, it's tough. I agree with what you're saying, and I think. Here's my thing with Florida State. Well, first of all, rankings-wise, to me, if you're like, I'm ranking it based on what have you done so far and how have you looked. To me, Florida State's looked better than Georgia. They've got a better resume than Georgia, so they go ahead of them for me. But I agree. Here's my two things. One, I think Brock Bowers is going to be a top 5 pick, and I think he's already won 2 national titles. How much incentive is there to play in the college football playoff if he's 70, 80%? He probably will.
I get it, dude, but he's just the kind of guy that is going to play.
Well, here's the only reason I would say he might not is I think he possibly could be kind of like the Bosas, where they're very business-oriented, and it's like, we're going to not play because we're going to keep you for the NFL. But I think if it's up to him, he's a tough kid. He probably does play. I think he's going to play. But with Brock Bowers,
on that injury though, you're right.
You just don't know. It's 4 to 6 weeks, and you got about 4 weeks till the playoff, or about 8 weeks till the playoffs. You don't know. But to me, you're probably right. My issue with Florida State is up front, offense and defensive line. Are they big enough and strong enough to hang with Georgia? I don't know. If it got matched up where, like, say Georgia was 2 and FSU was 3, and FSU had a month to prepare for Georgia, then I think that they'd have a better shot, because we saw it last year with Georgia and Ohio State. They had Ryan Day, I don't find to be that good of a coach. They had a month to prepare for Georgia as the hunted, and they damn near beat them. They had a very good game plan. They showed up their defense. They should have won. They missed a field goal to win the game 45 yards at the last second. And they put up 40 points on Georgia's defense. But yeah, I think that's it's an interesting question. I think we're both pretty on the same wavelength that Michigan's far and away better than anybody. But we'll move on real quick and do our picks.
It's time for College Football Pick'em, brought to you by BetOrigin, an original betting experience.
Interesting. So we got interesting game. TCU Tech is on Thursday this week. Why is that? Why is a TCU Tech on a Thursday? It's at wait.
Is that Tech?
Oh, it says Lubbock, Texas, but it says Jones AT&T Stadium.
That's where they play.
Okay.
Jones,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I see how that's confusing because
I thought it was AT&T Lake Jerry Jones. Okay. Well, let's start there for college. Our college pick'em this week. We got Texas Tech at home taking on TCU.
Is Tech coming off the bye?
Tech is, let's see, Tech is coming off of the bye. They lost. They were on a 2-game losing streak. After beating Baylor, they lost to Kansas State by 17, then got beat on the road at BYU. We're off a bye. Now they're taking on TCU.
Oh, this just screams a game that I don't know how, but Texas Tech's going to win it.
And they're favored.
Are they really?
Isn't that crazy? That line tells you how markets have adjusted.
That's hilarious.
That's the thing.
How bad did BYU beat them?
13, 27, 14.
BYU. How do you lose to fucking BYU by 13?
I know. Well, here's the thing. And TCU beat BYU by 33. But
yeah, that's perfect.
It's perfect.
Tech by a touchdown.
A
field goal.
Kansas. The reason the line is that too is because Kansas State beat TCU 41-3 last week, and I think I don't know if the quarterback was out when they played BYU for TCU, but I know they have like a second or third string at quarterback right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, give me Tech as well. I'll say Tech by. It's hard for me to see them winning by more than 7.
That's why I said 3.
I
went back to 3.
I'm gonna say 7, but it's man, their defense is pretty bad. Give me Tech by 7. Another interesting one that's on Thursday night: Wake Forest at Duke on a Thursday night.
Interesting. Did Riley Leonard play for Duke when they got
whipped? He did. It's just that was a flat spot. I talked about that on the preview show. Like, think about it. Okay, if he doesn't play in that game against Florida State and they just get smacked, right? Then that game against Louisville, I think they actually probably win. But when you're winning the whole game and he plays and he gets hurt again, and both games that you've lost now have been so deflating, like you should have won, it's hard to now go on the road to Louisville in that spot. I just think that was a bad spot.
I wonder at this point if you just shut him down for the rest of the season.
The only reason they wouldn't is because I think Duke still has a chance if they won out to make the ACC title game.
Oh, do they?
They would need Louisville to lose twice. But, I mean, unlikely, but possible. Louisville still plays at Miami, Virginia, and Virginia Tech, and Virginia hasn't looked as bad lately. So
how about
unlikely.
Pittsburgh beating Louisville, and then Notre Dame beating the absolute wheels off of fucking Pitt by like 50? Like that shows you how college football
makes
is
no
all
sense.
over the place.
Makes no sense, but
so it makes it great, I guess. But yeah,
give me Duke versus Wake Forest. Who do you like?
I guess I'll take the Blue Devils,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Maybe
I'll
Blue
take
Devils
Duke.
by 4.
Yeah, I'll take Duke. They are a 12.5-point favorite here.
And I don't think they're going to win by more than that.
I do think they
Forest
bounce.
sucks.
I think they do bounce back, but I'll say by 10. Let's see. I'm going to do this. I'm throwing this one in there for you. It's probably not a game that we'd cover, but Friday night, your Wyoming Cowboys taking
Cowboys.
on. They are your Cowboys.
My Cowboys.
Man, I'll tell you
got
this.
absolutely slobber knocked by Boise State.
That was a slobber knocker.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense because Wyoming can stop the run, and that's all Boise State can do. And they ran it right down their throats. And that's what we've talked about, I think, a little bit before, touching this. Like, I don't know how Boise State's that bad because the fucking running back they have is like the second coming of Jerome Bettis. You cannot stop him. He runs over a Jai or whatever his name.
He's a monster.
Not a Jai. That's the guy that was here. But,
He used to be there.
Yeah, he's got a name like that. I mean, dude, that guy gets hit, contacted 3 yards, and gets 8 every single
crazy.
time. And I'm like, how the fuck did Boise State lose these games? Like, they blew a 20-point lead to Colorado State with 4 minutes left, and they have a running back that literally in that game ran for like 200-something yards.
I
Like,
went
how do you
back
do
and
this?
watched the highlights of that, and I still, like, watching it, I couldn't believe how they possibly lost.
No,
the
it
game.
was probably that had to be actually in reality. Like, I've seen worse breaks happen to people
Right.
in certain things,
Right.
but that's probably the craziest comeback I've
Yes.
ever seen because
In
it was
football, for sure.
Because it was 21 points in
4
less,
minutes.
yeah, 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah,
technically.
it was an unbelievable comeback. I've never seen anything like it. And like I said, rewatching it, I was like, how did this even happen? I still can't believe that it happened. But I will say, this is when I think I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it almost feels like the fix is in on some of these games. You saw the one where it was like Pittsburgh, like you just said, Pittsburgh was only like a 7-point dog against Louisville. Everybody was on Louisville, and the line kept moving down. And you look at the Wyoming Boise State game, that line was 4, and I think I even texted you something about it. Like, I was like, hey, I can't believe that Wyoming is a dog in this spot. And then as I said that, it was like, boom, touchdown Boise, boom, touchdown Boise. And it makes no sense. Like you said, Wyoming
wasn't even close.
It wasn't even close, and the line made no sense. Every time that happens, the other team wins. And it's just like, to me, like, how do they know that? Like, what is the information that they know that?
I mean, I'll say this. Boise State, obviously, if you look at it, they beat Colorado. They lost the game, but basically beat them by 14.
Right.
And then they had other games, like against Memphis. Probably should have beat Memphis. They had that field goal. They got blocked and returned 90 yards. So the coach, who doesn't go for it on 4th and 1 with that back that nobody can stop, kicks a field goal, 14-point swing or at least 10-point swing.
But that was another one right there that was weird. It was like Memphis was a 3-point favorite in that spot. At home, at the time, they were like undefeated, and you look at the metrics of Boise State, they were like bottom 100 in the country in defense, bottom 100 in the country in offense, and there's a 3-point spread. That means those two teams are on a neutral field are equal. It made no sense. Like, some of that stuff just doesn't make sense to me.
I think, like we've talked about sometimes, Vegas just comes up with these rankings for the teams through their system before the season and like almost just
sticks
to their guns. And I don't know. I actually think Boise State's one of those teams that they are kind of right about. Like, they are sneaky good, but they just lose. Like, on paper, they're good. They just somehow lose these games.
Well, it's weird, too, because I haven't looked at them now, but I looked at them in that Memphis game, and I thought, man, that's a weird line. Like, I want to bet Boise. And I saw their metrics, like all the advanced statistics, and I was like, holy fuck, how can I not bet Memphis? Like, even in that spot, and I know they pushed on that game, but it was like, it just, metrically, they looked horrific. And maybe not since then, but going the first 4 or 5 games.
So what was the final score when they played Boise?
Memphis?
Sorry, no, Wyoming. How bad did they beat Wyoming?
Oh, I believe it was like 45 to 7, or 32 to 7.
And even that 7 points Wyoming got was hilarious. Boise was going in to score. The guy fumbled the ball. The guy from Wyoming picked it up, ran it to the 50. I'm not kidding. 3 plays later, it was another 3 and out for Wyoming. Their coach, instead of going for, like, you know...
Of course he punts.
He punts. The guy muffs the punt. Wyoming picks up. So they got a fumble and a muff punt and still needed like a 3rd and 10 to score.
Unbelievable.
So who are they playing this week, Wyoming?
Wyoming's playing Colorado State. Wyoming's a 7-point favorite.
Cowboys bounce back.
Cowboys do bounce back. How many?
They don't score that many points. Cowboys by 4.
By 4. Okay, I like it. Give me the Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys by 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Give me the Cowboys by 10.
I just don't trust them.
Yeah, I don't trust them either.
So bad.
That was a weird game, but I think their entire body of work has proved that they're a pretty decent team. That was a bad loss for them in the Mountain West, though. They could have gone to 3-1. Ohio State at number 3 in the country before the college football playoff rankings, going against surprising 6-2 Rutgers. At Rutgers.
Oh, at Butgers. Ooh.
At Butgers. At SHI Stadium in New Jersey.
Ugly game. Ugly game. Buckeyes by 13.
Buckeyes by 13. Okay. Oh, quick funny thing I gave, and you'll see this on the college football preview show. Great, and I know we're not a betting show, but great thing I noticed. If you faded the teams, you have 2 teams who are undefeated, right? They play each other. If you fade those 2 teams the following week this year, you're 6-0. Texas and OU the following week. The next game they played, Texas barely beat Houston as 17-point favorites.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So coming off like a big game.
So if they're both undefeated and it's a conference game, you faded Texas, Oklahoma, then you faded Oregon and Washington, and then you faded Penn State and Ohio State last week. All 6 of them did not cover the spread on their next game. Interesting little nugget of advice. Yeah. Anyway, Ohio State at Rutgers. How much did you say by Ohio State? 13. By 13. Okay, give me. Man, it's hard to go to Piscataway and win, but
stop.
Give me it's hard to go to Piscataway.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
They got Schiano there.
Greg Schiano's the head coach. Yes.
Chop.
Give me
chopping.
Ohio State's going to be up by 7 at halftime, and they're going to end up covering the spread.
Well, I don't know what the spread is, but I'm just saying, I agree with you that it's going to be one of those where it's ugly first half, and then
they run away.
Give
me Ohio State by 24. Rutgers comes back down to earth this week.
Rutgers.
Here's one really big matchup. Not only for the Big 12 championship race, the loser is probably out of the race, but also for the college football playoff. The Horns with Maalik Murphy at quarterback at DKR Memorial Stadium in Austin, taking on the Kansas State Wildcats, who have crept back into the top 25.
Kansas State by 3.
Oh man, I hate that you did that. You're probably going to be right, man.
Malik, this just reeks of a Sark. Texas, they're in it. It's got to be a close game. They're going to fucking lose.
It's such a meltdown spot.
This is the Charles Barkley. Kansas State, guarantee.
Kansas
Texas
State
loses.
Kansas State is a 4.5-point dog, and they're guaranteed
to win. I'll say
right.
this. This is going to be a funny one for you. Kansas State, I don't even know how this is going to happen. Kansas State's going to win this game. Texas will still find their way in the Big 12 championship.
Okay.
I think it's just going to be a cluster the rest of the season. I think you see Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has how many losses? 1
in the Big 12 one. So okay. Kansas State.
I think what's going to happen is Oklahoma State beats. We're going to get there probably. I think Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma this week. So Oklahoma has 2 losses.
I think so too.
And then Texas will beat Oklahoma State when they play them.
It's a 3-way tie.
Yeah, and then there's going to be like a 3-way tie.
4-way tie. Maybe?
One of them will probably end up only having. K-State may get through it. K-State's going to end up losing another game, but I just think that the Big 12 is going to end up beating up on each other and screwing everybody out of a college football playoff. And I hate to say that, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope Maalik can win with the Horns, but I don't think so. I think they're going to blow it.
Look, it's all about the defense.
I agree.
Can the defense hold Kansas State? If this game was at K-State, I would agree with you. I think there's no chance the Horns win. And this stinks of a Sark special right here for sure. You're spot on. But I'm going to ride with my Horns. And I know, but hold on, here's the thing. I'm not just going to ride with them because I want them. I actually believe they're going to win. I think this Kansas State team is not as good as they were last year. And I think they've been playing better as of late. But they are a different team away from home. They have proven that over the years. They're not good on the road. And yes, Maalik Murphy is fucking bad. I watched him play. I mean, he's fucking bad. He's really, really, really bad. But the defense and the playmakers around him is too good. There's a giant talent gap between Texas and Ohio State at every position other than quarterback. So to me, I don't think that Texas. I think it's ugly, And I think the defense holds K-State to like 17. Texas wins by 4.
And in reality, I think Texas wins on paper, they win the game easy.
Yes.
I just know it's Texas. I know that the Texas Longhorns will more than likely find a way to lose 3 games.
You're probably
That's
right.
all I'm saying.
No, I mean, that's
just what they do. They haven't had a 10-win season in 12 years, right?
What they do.
So that's what they do.
I think they might have gotten that 10th win in the bowl game when they had Ellinger, when they beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl.
They did, yeah.
I think they got their 10th win there, but in regular
season,
season, they haven't had a 10-win game since 2009, so you're right. So we'll move on, though. Another ranked team who we touched on a second ago, I think, in our college football, Ole Miss with only 1 loss. They're number 11, kind of sneaky right there. Kind of people forget about them. They take on A&M at home. The line is short.
Ole Miss is at home against A&M.
At home.
They'll beat Texas A&M at home, but I think this is a game that I think Ole Miss, it's crazy they only have 1 loss. I don't think they're very good.
Yeah, I don't think.
But I don't think the Aggies are very good.
They're
either.
not.
So I mean that's the deal. I think Ole Miss at home will beat them by 7.
If this game was at night, Ole Miss would stomp them because they're better at home at night. And in the afternoon, A&M's used to playing those afternoon games. Ole Miss normally plays at 2:30 or 7. They normally play the later slate. So this is kind of a weirder spot for them.
It's an 11 o'clock game?
It's an 11 o'clock game.
That's not good. Yeah, they can't get... You got to get to the Grove at like 6 a.m. to get a strong buzz before the game starts.
A lot of those dudes are going to be there at about 10:45.
Oh, no, yeah. That's
maybe
what I'm
even
saying.
Later.
That's probably...
They're going to roll up very late.
In.
But... Give me Ole Miss anyway, and I think that line is too short. I like Ole Miss to win the game. This is a spot, that same thing, like Lane Kiffin stinker on deck, but I think they're going to win this one. I don't think they lose it.
The Aggies can't win on the road, man. I mean, it's that simple. They've never been able to do it with Jimbo.
They never win on the road. They still have a backup quarterback in there who's not very good. Their O-line still stinks, and I think
their
Ole
defense
Miss,
on paper is like
if they get
top
pressure
5 in the country. They just can't.
If they get pressure on Jackson Dart, they could win the game for sure. If they don't, they're going to get killed.
I honestly think that Ole Miss is going to win that game pretty easy.
I completely agree. All right, moving on. Another ranked team, Notre Dame, 7-2. Going to Clemson, 4-4. Dabo Swinney a couple weeks said we're 2 plays away from being undefeated. Well, Dabo, you're fucking 3 plays away from being 2-6. Shut the fuck up. You guys are horrible. Pick Notre Dame or Clemson.
Love you, Dabo. Don't let them get you down.
Fuck Dabo.
Love you. Love what you're doing over there at the program. Notre Dame by 14.
Notre Dame by 21. They're going to stomp the living shit out of them.
I actually, you know what? With them on the road, I just know fucking Notre Dame. They're going to win. They'll win the game, but it's going to be by like 7. They're just not capable of going on the road and winning by 1 million.
You're probably right, and Death Valley's a tough place to play.
Yeah, I definitely think they do. They're way better than Clemson, but to be even further honest with you, is like my brother, who's a religious Notre Dame fan. We've talked about this. Is like they're actually probably going to find a way to lose.
Oh, they probably will. They're only 3-point favorites.
I mean,
the line says Clemson wins. Is that right?
Notre Dame by 7. Is what
Notre Dame by 21 because I just hate Dabo and I want to see him lose.
Yeah.
I'm gonna we won't even talk about this game. I'm only gonna say it so that we each get a free winner here because if I'm keeping the record from the time I want us to have a winner. Tennessee, number 19 at home against UConn. Nice little pick right there.
Give me the Huskies.
Give me
I'm just kidding. I'll take Tennessee.
Tennessee by 1 million. Arkansas at Florida.
Give me the Hogs.
The Hogs do this. I told you this. What did I say a couple weeks ago?
The Hogs are going to be up at halftime.
The Hogs always do this. They play a team, they get blown out, and then the next week they end up playing a team close, or they play a team under expectation and then they over expectation. They played Mississippi State at home 2 weeks ago and got beat. They scored 3 points in the game, and now they're going on the road to Florida, and they're 6-point dogs. Give me the Hogs outright, no doubt. Hogs by, what'd you say by?
7.
Give me the Hogs by 2. Somehow it's going to be a 2-point win. Wisconsin at Indiana. Do we even want to pick that?
Yeah. Give me the Hoosiers.
Okay, give me, oh man.
Hoosiers by 3.
Okay.
Wisconsin is hot garbage. Wisconsin's defense is obviously good, but Indiana they're not a good football team. But they're good enough to hang in that game and find a way to potentially beat Wisconsin at home. So I'll call an upset.
Okay, I like that upset. I think the only reason I would say that I don't agree is because I think Indiana was very close to pulling an actual outright upset against Penn State last week, and now it's hard to do that when you're a bad team 2 weeks in a row. Also, I do like they finally switched at quarterback. Braden Locke took over for Tanner Mordecai, and he's much better. He was actually recruited by the legend himself. Mike Leach was recruiting Locke to go play for him at Mississippi State before he died. And so Locke's actually, I think highly of him. And I don't think he's great yet. He's a freshman, but I think he'll be better. Anyway, they finally went to him, and their offense looked decent compared to what it's looked like with
How many did Ohio State end up beating them by?
14. They didn't cover. But I'll take Wisconsin in that game. It's by they can't cover a big number. Give me them by 6. Ugly one here. Michigan State 2-6 has 0 wins in the Big Ten. Thought they might get one against Minnesota last week. They didn't. They play Nebraska, who started 0-3, I believe, and is 5-3 and 3-2 in the Big Ten.
Matt Rule, baby.
Matt Rule's still an idiot, but
turns programs around. Don't let Dylan get you to Matt. Give me the Huskers by 10.
Again, here's the one of those. The line's 3. Give me Michigan State. Give me Sparty. I'm gonna pick Sparty until they win a fucking Big Ten game.
I don't think they're going to win one.
I'm going to keep picking them until Mike D'Antonio is back, and he's a special advisor to the team the last couple weeks, and I think he's going to get this team on track this week. I think he's technically the coach.
Did he retire?
He retired and came back when they fired Mel Tucker. But as a special
they should
just
fucking rehired.
I know, they should have rehired him. They made the special teams coach the head coach. I don't understand that at all. Okay, moving on. We've got at 1 o'clock, a weird 1 o'clock game in the Pac-12. Arizona State traveling to Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City after the Utes were embarrassed at home last week.
Man, that loss set Utah back a couple years.
Pretty bad.
I'll take Utah by a field goal.
Yeah, it's going to be very tight.
I think Arizona State might beat them, but I don't know. Yeah, Utah by 3.
I just think Utah's defense is better than they showed, so I think Utah wins by 7 only because I think it's like 7-0. Literally, I think it's gonna be like 7-0.
It's gonna be a nasty game.
That total is 41.5, and I think it's way too big. The two teams who upset North Carolina the last 2 weeks: Georgia Tech traveling to Virginia.
You know what? Give me the. They're playing at Virginia.
At Virginia.
Man, Georgia Tech's the weirdest team ever. I'll just take them. Actually, no, they got a big win, so they'll lose. Virginia by 3.
Yeah, they beat Wake Forest on the road, then lost to
Bowling
Green by double digits, went into Miami and won on the infamous kneel down, or phantom kneel down, lost to Boston College by 15, and then upset North Carolina.
Win, loss.
Exactly. No, I was going to take Georgia Tech here, but I think you're right. You know what? I like Haynes King. I think this is the week that they finally get 2 wins in a row.
You like Haynes
King?
Dude,
he's like the number 1 quarterback in the ACC. I never liked him before when he was at A&M. Dude, he's got 21 touchdowns this season.
Really?
21 touchdowns. He's the number 1 quarterback in the ACC. Now he's thrown 10 picks, but he's throwing the ball all over the place. He's a gunslinger. I don't really love Haynes King, but I've grown to actually kind of like him. Maybe it's because I've bet on Georgia Tech when they've won 3 times this year.
That's funny.
But give me the cover for me against Louisville, Wake Forest, and Miami, all of them. But give me Georgia Tech by 3. Moving on. Next one, we will go to. Well, we got to pick this one because it's the Armed Forces Special here. Army 2-6 off a loss to UMass, traveling to undefeated Air Force.
Ooh, that's going to be a great 38-point total or something like that.
Right? It's 32.5.
Love it. Those are my kind of football games. I want to see 0 touchdowns, nothing but field goals.
Yeah.
I mean, Air Force, they do the same thing, and Air Force is better. Yeah. So, especially at home, I'll go. Air Force probably going to win that game by 10 points.
I think you're right. I think Army somehow stays within this number.
I don't know what the number is, but I mean
18.5.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of points. I mean, the thing is like you would expect Army to be able to score 1 touchdown, and they can probably. You saw Navy even kind of stop Air Force, and Navy didn't have a good defense. So
Navy had a quarterback in there who had never made a start.
Oh yeah, he was horrible.
And
I watched
they had negative yards of offense going into the fourth quarter, and it was 10-0.
Yeah.
So to me, it's kind of a similar spot here. Like I think Army when you see the option that much, these games are always low scoring. They're always tough to be big wins. Air Force wins, but it's ugly. I'm going to say actually by 7. I think it's going to be very, very tight.
Got it, yeah.
Next one, we'll say, here's one of the better matchups of the week. Missouri traveling to Athens to take on Georgia.
Georgia by 21.
Wow. This is the type of game Georgia blows a team out like that, for sure. I think you're right. If this game was at Missouri, I'd give them more of a shot. But I will say this. I think it's going to be closer. Missouri gives Georgia trouble. They gave him trouble last year. Almost pulled the outright upset.
See, I didn't remember that.
It took Georgia a game-winning drive to win the game. Give me and of course it was Brock Bowers with the game-winning touchdown. Give me the Dogs by 7.
Oh, yeah, I forget they don't have Brock Bowers. I'll say Dogs by 14. We'll come back a touchdown without Bowers.
Give me Dogs by 7, close game. Florida State at Pittsburgh.
Florida State wins by 10.
By 10, okay.
It's going to be this is the classic game that Pittsburgh is at home where they beat Louisville, but Pittsburgh just got beat by 50 points by Notre Dame. No, there's no way Florida State's taking this game that seriously. They're just not.
I agree.
You can't. So 10, 13 points.
Yep.
Florida State probably starts slow, ends up winning by a couple touchdowns.
Yep. Florida State by, give me Florida State by 17. Penn State at Maryland.
Maryland done?
Maryland started 5-0 and then lost 3 straight. They lost to Ohio State and then they lost to Illinois at home, and then last week got upset by Northwestern.
Yikes. Yeah, I'll go ahead and take Penn State in that one.
Yeah, give me Penn State as well. I actually think Penn State gets back on track this week offensively, and they'll win by 21. You got a number?
Oh, I can't imagine them win. I mean, Penn State's on offenses look so bad.
They have looked bad.
Penn State by 10.
Next one, we've got Bedlam, and it's the last meeting between these two while they're in the Big 12. Oklahoma, number 10, 7-1, traveling to Stillwater to take on the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. Oklahoma off the loss to Kansas. Who do you like?
Oklahoma State by, I was going to say double digits. Oklahoma State by 7.
I like that pick a lot. Oklahoma State in a tight one by 4. And the Sooners go on a 3-game skid. Not only do they lose this week, they're going to lose next week at home to West Virginia. I've maintained that they were going to lose that game for 5 weeks, so I'm sticking to my guns.
Okay.
Oklahoma finishes 9-3 and doesn't even make the Big 12 title game. It'll be Texas and Oklahoma State in the Big 12 title. Give me what?
I said I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go. Let's see. Virginia Tech, Louisville.
No, we don't need to pick.
Okay, Tulane's 21. So no, they're playing East Carolina. We each take two. We'll each take Tulane. We each take Tulane. We each take Louisville. Okay, here's one that we'll do because James Madison's still undefeated. James Madison 8-0, number 23 versus Georgia State.
Georgia State's going to beat them.
Georgia State's going to beat them.
Georgia State by a field goal. What's Georgia State's record right now?
6-2. They're pretty good.
They're good.
But James Madison was 18-point favorites last week and should have lost outright to Old Dominion. James Madison, they survived their scare. They're going to win this one by 10. Okay. Oh, here I'm doing this one just for you, and then we'll move to only the big games. Iowa at Northwestern.
Ooh, love that. That's a slobber knocker.
It's a slobber knocker. 31 total.
That's actually hilarious.
31 on the total.
Oh man, that's a football game right there. Iowa by 2. A safety decides it.
I love
12-10 Iowa. Scoregami. When you talk to me next week when I hit that.
I swear
Iowa,
to
God. 12-10.
I swear to God, I was about to say a 2-point win for Iowa, 9-7 with a safety. Swear to God.
There you go. You go 9-7.
I'll say 9-7 Iowa. I only think Iowa will score, their second season high with 9 points because Brian Ferentz, like you just told me, stepped down.
Yes.
Moving on.
No. He's stepping down at the end of the season.
Oh,
yes.
Fuck. Then
so
9's a high number then.
Yeah.
Fucking A. We're not doing Houston, Baylor. Who cares about Central Florida, Cincinnati? Sorry, going down the list. Here, we'll just do this one because Oregon's number 6. Cal at Oregon.
Where's it at?
It's at in Austin and Eugene.
Let's get the Ducks by 24.
That's the line. Great number there.
Really?
That's the exact line. Yeah, I'll say Ducks. I think Cal gave their upset last week, but gave their upset scare. They should have beat USC, but the Ducks also played really well. Yeah, Ducks by 18. Maybe Ducks by 21. Ducks by 21. Let's see down the list real quick. Here's a good one actually. Kansas, number 22 now after the upset of OU, travels to Ames, Iowa to take on Iowa State. That's the other team that's 4-1 in the Big 12, Iowa State.
That's wild.
They're 5-3 and 4-1 in the Big 12.
That's a game that just screams Iowa State's going to win that.
Yes,
especially
it does.
Kansas coming off a big win. I will take the Cyclones by 4.
I'm going to take the Cyclones as well by 3. BYU at West Virginia. Both teams 5-3. Loser is out. West Virginia is still in the hunt somewhat for the Big 12 title.
I'll take West Virginia to win by a touchdown. It'll be a close game.
Yeah. I'll say West Virginia by 10 only because I don't think BYU can score enough to stay with them. Michigan's going to kill Purdue. Each would take them. Here we go. We got two, maybe three more. So give me Washington USC ranked top 25 matchup.
Where's it at?
It's in LA.
This is Washington is
Toeing the line.
Could have lost 2 games. They're playing with fire. This is a game that USC is going to win by 3 points.
What do you think the total is on this game?
It should be 100.
77.
Yeah, it should be 100. I don't know. But yeah. I mean, USC by 3. Whoever's got the ball last. But I just think that Washington literally, like I said, that Stanford game I was watching, they were one catch away from taking the lead on them. Arizona State, if they don't throw a pick 6 or kick a field goal instead of throwing a pick 6, I mean, it's just, I think Washington's a better football team, but they honestly deserve a loss.
They do deserve a loss.
I think they're going to lose the game.
They also might just be like TCU last year where everything just bounced their way. So
could be.
I do think USC, I'm going to pick Washington because I just feel like they're going to find a way to win. I'm rooting for USC, and I actually think they have a good chance to win. I can't back that defense right now. 49 points to Cal.
Oh, they're horrible.
So give me Washington by a field goal. Last one, or we'll do 2 more. Last 2. LSU at Alabama.
Ooh, fun game.
Yeah, very fun game.
I think there's going to be a lot of points in that one. LSU can't stop anybody. I will take. Give me Alabama by 10.
It's tough to win in Alabama. It's tough to win in Tuscaloosa. LSU, terrible defensively. Nobody goes there and wins tonight except Texas in the last decade. Give me LSU for some reason on the road. Why are they only 3-point dogs? They should be a 7-point dog in this spot. The reason is because Jalen Milroe is not very good. Give me the Tigers. They find a way to get enough stops against Milroe. Milroe makes a lot of defenses look decent. So I think the Tigers score enough points to win the game somehow. Last one we'll pick just because of prime. Oregon State at Colorado. Oregon State by 10. Oregon State by 10. Yeah, let me say Oregon State by a touchdown. Colorado's been right there a couple times.